So this is to show the process for creating a floor. The floor is going to be on the ground floor, and it's going to use the option that says that we want a floor that is extending all the way into the wall so that it meets the structural part of this wall and attaches to that. Let me just zoom in on this a little bit. I'm going to cancel out just so you can see what I'm referring to. If there are materials in this wall, you won't see them until you tell it that it should look at a medium level of detail. So now I can see the gypsum board, and then inside here I've got a brick on metal stud. So I've got brick on the outside, then a gap, and then metal stud. Let me just pick the style and look at the structure. So it says on the inside, gypsum wallboard, half-inch, vapor retarder, metal stud, plywood sheathing. It's got a concrete floor, so the concrete floor probably needs to go to the outside of the metal stud. So in his exercise, because we're going to build the metal stud off the floor, in his exercise it says create an architectural floor. You can pick a style, so the style that he wants is the floor lightweight concrete on a metal deck, which if you looked at the type properties and the structure, it looks like this. So it's got a metal deck with lightweight concrete. So depending on the actual, let's do it the way he's got it here. So I'm going to, in his book, so I'm going to say at the top here, pick walls. On the top here, extend walls to core means go to the, depending on where you pick. If you pick the inside of the wall, it's going to go to the face of the metal stud. If you pick the outside, it's going to go to the outside face of the metal stud. Near the center of the north wall of the apartment, and then press the tab key when the wall is selected. So what he's going to do is he's actually like picking all of them. The tab key is selecting all the walls, and his cursor is closer to the outside face of the structure. So what that's doing is drawing the line all the way around the outside face of the structure part. You should see on that sketch that's being created a flip symbol right there, where if you want you can flip to the inside or flip to the outside of the metal stud. He's got it on the outside. You then say that you're finished, so that's the green up here, and that should create the floor. And if I look at it, it's got this material on it. So I need to elaborate on this because another thing you'd want to do as interior architects is to draw floors that are actually more of the finishes within the building, an area of carpet, an area of ceramic tile, whatever you can put on the floor, put on right now we're talking about floors, but you can also put them on walls or other places. But just a material that is going to let me within a room, say, have an area that is pergo flooring, an area that is carpet, an area that is tile. None of that's in this exercise. Next part is the ceiling. So if you go to the architecture and ceilings, there's some new options in there. If you remember earlier in exercise when I picked on a wall, I could show the wall as being room bounding. Well, it also works for ceilings. So when I either pick automatic and move in here, and it's going to create a ceiling at 8 feet height. We want the gypsum board on metal stud, so we can change the size and pick gypsum board metal and come in and do them one at a time. If you're working in a floor plan, you're always going to get that message, because remember, the floor plan is at 4 feet looking down. So what the warning is saying is none of these are visible in the floor plan. Ironically, he's picked a style that is not, if you go into the ceiling plan for the first floor, you can't see it either. You'll only see it in the section. You can't see it because there's no pattern on it. So if I go to the section, I can see it in that view. If you change it for just the short term, if you change it to a 2x2 acoustic tile, you would see that if you're on the floor plan, I can't see it because I'm looking down the way. But if you're on the ceiling plan, you can see the option that's there, the actual ceiling tile. You're at 7'6" and looking up the way, and the ceiling is at 8 foot height. Now, you typically, when you're doing ceilings, you want to work in a ceiling plan for the floor that you're working on. So back to the build tab and ceilings. You can actually now do them all automatically. So if you just say automatic, and then you pick. So I'm going to pick a style that I can see the pattern 2x2, just so I get visual confirmation of what I'm doing. And then if I do something like, say, right click, select all instances in my project. So if I pick the ceiling, I'll do it in a section view. Right click, select all instances in the entire project. That's all of the 2x4, and I'm going to change them to say make them gypsum board on metal stud. So now the issue is you won't see anything on there because those ceilings don't have a pattern, but they're in the model and you can see them when you do like a 3D cutaway.